What's going on, fellas? And whoever else is tuning in tonight. We definitely appreciate you coming in for the Book of Man book study. Um, Look, we're wrapping up this book. We're studying the way of the superior man. And this is the last one. So we will be ready for the next book next week. Next week, we'll be here ready to go. So I'm ready to do it, man. I'm excited. But let me go ahead and jump to it so we can get started. Now, knowing me, how much I be forgetting stuff, I'll probably click this thing and y'all can't hear nothing that I said. But regardless, all right, here we is. Quick housekeeping, and then we're gonna jump right into it. Number one, Jay Sims the Lion couldn't make it tonight. Had a late night at work, and he still got to take care of his son. Single dad stuff. That's just what it is. But I can hold it down till he get back. So, shout out to Jay Sims the Lion, trying to hold it down the best he can with what he got. Number two, if you are watching this live stream and you want to interact with me, I got to get my microphone set right. I'm going to get that sooner or later. But if y'all want to interact with me, go ahead and drop a comment down in there. I'll throw it up on the screen. We can talk about it. Second thing, if you want to come up and join the discussion with me, then, put a comment down there. Hey, I want to come up. I'll drop the link in there. You click it, come up, we can talk. Easy. All right. What else? Saturday, should be back Saturday. Got a good topic lined up for Saturday. I want to do talk about Jay Morant and his dad and just how he fumbling the bags, so they say. That kid got a lot of stuff going on. 22 years old and multi-millionaire, just throwing money away. And doing all kind of stuff. So I want to talk about that we really need to talk about this Will Smith, Chris Rock thing, because you watched that comedy special, it was something else. I'm telling you. He said a lot of stuff that we all were thinking, so I want to talk about it. Next thing, the next book. Okay, so I put up the poll, people voted, we talked about it, and we're going to do Atomic Habits by James Clear, which I'm glad we picked that one because I kind of needed that for myself. So I've already started reading it. This book is like a manual. It will supercharge your life. It will put things in place that you never had before, and it help you understand why you're doing the things you do and give you a guide on how to change and bend your life to your own will. So can't wait for that. All right, let's go ahead and jump in this thing. Let's jump in. All right, what chapter are we on? Chapter 49. Chapter 49. Insist on practice and growth. So what are you talking about here is how a superior man handles himself in his life and through the relationships. So this is what he writes in the intro. Direction in life is a masculine priority, even in an intimate relationship. Now, he says some men will say something like my way or the highway, or they'll compromise, he says, by playing Mr. Nice Guy, which there's a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And I may have to put that one on the list too, because I listen to it a couple of times a year, try to tighten myself up there. But what is he saying about the superior man? He said, rather than waiting for his woman to follow his personal direction, a superior man wants her to move in a direction that serves her growth in love and happiness. He will settle for nothing less. So when I first read that, I was, I kind of got it. But as I got more into it, he explains a lot more. And he says, if you don't know your own direction in life, you certainly will stand on shaky ground offering your woman direction. How can we help the people that we with? How can we help our wives, girlfriends, all of that, if you don't know where you're going? You got to know where you're going. They don't have to know where you're going, but you got to know. And they have to be confident in you that you know what you're doing, or at least where you're going, what you're working toward. Now, he says the first step is to align your own life so you are living in your purpose and you are finding that edge. And what happens is a lot of us We don't know what in the world we're doing. We don't. And I admit, for a long time in my life, I didn't know what I was doing. I just know I was supposed to go to work and I was supposed to come home and play with the kids and clean up, do all that stuff. That's what I was supposed to do. But as I got older, I discovered my purpose and I found that direction. And that's what he's talking about. Now, finding your purpose, that's a big thing for a man. If you don't know what your purpose is, we need to talk about it. And usually the first thing you write is not what the purpose really is. If your purpose is self-serving, something that you doing for yourself, that ain't really it. We are put here to perform a task, to do a thing. At the beginning of all time. Oh man, my battery down. Y'all hold on. All right, I think I'm good now. I got the standing desk, so I stood it up so I can stand up and do this and moved it around my room. Think the plug pulled out. But anyway, beginning of time, everything had a purpose. When the acorn tree was made, that was the purpose, before it turned into a tree. When the fish was made, the purpose was to swim. Birds was to fly. Vultures eat the dead things. Everybody got a purpose. You got one too. Oh, now my wife's calling me. Hold on, let me call her back. Okay. So as a man, you got to find your own purpose. You got to study that, figure it out, talk it out. Now, I do have some things written that'll help you find your purpose, some questions that we did. Oh yeah, man. I'm trying to preach a little bit here. Can't help it. It always come out. So what he says though is that through the course of working and doing everything else that we forget what our purpose is. We get distracted by the things of life itself. So what are you going to do about that? And if you get distracted and you get off your game, how in the world are you going to help the person that you love in the way that you're supposed to and fulfill your purpose for that? Now, he said, and this is true. I found this to be true. He said that if you do not cut through, that means your mentality of just going to work, coming home, doing all that. If you don't cultivate that, get rid of it, then she is going to take her own direction. Now listen to this next part. He said the less masculine direction you are living in, the more masculine direction your woman will take on. So how I see that is that there is a level of masculine and feminine in the relationship. The less masculine you have, the more masculine she get. And it's always going to be the same 100%. That's still going to happen. So the more masculine you get, the less. That's usually how it go. Hold on. Hold on a minute, y'all. Let me see if my wife won't make sure she's not in trouble here. All right, she good. Just had to make sure, if they call her, you got to see what's up. All right. More masculine you are, more feminine she become. The balance stays there. Um, Now, this is why it's important to maintain that balance. He said, at your core, you are masculine, and her masculine attempt to change the direction, to do stuff with a relationship. Hey, I know it, man. We'll be right back. That's how I go. We trying to get it. Oh boy. Um, but he said it will depolarize you. It will depolarize you. And we talked about that a couple weeks ago about how you can become depolarized with the person that you're with. All of a sudden, y'all, that's how people turn into roommates versus husband and wife, that depolarization happening. Let me explain that a little bit, just in case you missed that. With a magnet, right? A magnet is attracted to its opposite end. North is attracted to south. Now, if you put two north sides together, it's going to push apart. As hard as you try to put them, mash them together, do all that, it won't stick. It'll just repel. That's what happens in our relationships. The both get that masculine energy and they repel one another. So that's what he said. When your masculine direction decrease and she take over, because somebody got to drive the ship. You're gonna go somewhere and you would just, it would turn you clean off. Matter of fact, he said you will bash heads with her like two rams. Now, here's the worst part. He said, if you move into your feminine, things may get worse. It'll get worse. So it's already bad if one of y'all go off. But if that happens, oh, hold on. I see you here. Now give me my theme music. Yeah, I had to play homage. OG is in the house, man. Thank you for supporting and coming in. So if you move into more feminine and she'll move into more masculine, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be even worse. She's gonna become more masculine. You're gonna become more agreeable and receptive. And next thing you know, is everything is going awry. You have to fulfill your purpose. Now, I highlighted this part in the book. I drew a thing, so I'm gonna read it and then we're gonna talk about it real quick. He said, by law of conservation of masculine and feminine energy, whatever masculine gifts you aren't offering, your woman will try to offer. So somebody is going to take the masculine role. Somebody going to do it. It's either going to be you or it's going to be her. And if you ain't doing it right, if you're not offering that direction, that wisdom, those things, then she going to pick up and do it. And then it's going to be bad for everybody because y'all going to depolarize, not be able to be together, get pushed apart. Now, what he say here is that when she becomes more masculine, that it's going to turn you off and eventually even repulse you. So you're going to start seeing her like another dude. You're going to be attracted to dudes like that, and it's going to be your own fault. So what he's saying here after that, he says, you are entirely responsible for cutting through your own laziness, addictions, and unclarity. She's not going to do it for you. So, oh man. All right. There are a lot of men out there that rely on their significant other to make them better people. They rely on that. I mean, in simple stuff. I'm going to say this. It's some of us that won't even take care of ourselves and go to the doctor unless our wives or girls make the appointment. But we got to start getting through our own laziness and addictions. All of that stuff is the things that's getting in the way of you playing your masculine role in your relationship. And nobody is to blame but you. Now, but what he's saying after that is that you have to try. You got to do something to kind of get yourself aligned. Stop being lazy. Get a clear vision of what's going on. Because if you don't, she will, and it ain't going to be good. So that's pretty much chapter 49. Insist on practicing and growth. Now, look right here. Laziness. Facts. Yes, sir. I'm telling you. And some of us super lazy, man. That thing, it don't make sense. It don't make sense. Stuff be right in front of us, and we won't do it because we scared or we just plain lazy. It take too much to do that. It take way too much. Y'all got to watch that podcast for Saturday. We had Kevin Franklin on, and man, that's a powerful brother. I'm gonna try to chop it up and put it up tomorrow. But it is on our YouTube channel. But he talked about the fitness, putting the king first, using scripture. Man, that dude was powerful. I can't wait to have him back. Let's move on. Chapter 50. This is important. And this is one reason why we started this. And well, maybe I'll tell y'all that story when we get there. But 50, restore your purpose in solitude and with other men. This is the chapter. When I read this earlier this week, I wanted to call somebody and tell them about this. Is some of this stuff gets so good and it's like it all becomes clear. You got to tell somebody, but I had to try to save it for the show. Maybe I should have called somebody that got more out of it. But listen to what he said. A man rediscovers and fine-tunes his purpose in solitude. When you be by yourself, you can find your purpose. You can fine-tune it. But also, he said, in challenging situations. So if you got to fight against something, that's what makes us get better. I always say a man always need a battle to fight. Because if you have a man without a battle to fight, then he will be a shell of himself. And by battle, I'm not talking about going out to physically fight somebody, but you always got to be growing to do something, because if you don't, then you will rot and die. And for me, what that was, that's why I kept going back to school, because I needed that battle to fight. And not the last time I went to school, but the time before that, got my master's degree. I finished it, did the whole thing. And I sat still for about 3 months. And then I start itching again, like, oh, I got to do something else. I got to keep moving. So I re-enrolled in school again to fight another battle. So now I'm done with that. So now I got to find another battle to fight. You take that time to rest and then you get up and go again. But listen what he said. The challenging situation, like I did, I challenged myself. I got a homeboy who went on this long hike through the swamps of Florida with his brothers and stuff. And that was a physical challenge for him to try to find himself. But also, he said, in the company of other men who won't settle for all the BS you do. You can't do it all by yourself. So what you got to do? You got to be by yourself sometimes to find your direction. You got to put yourself through some challenging situations. And then also, you need to find you some brothers to get with that just ain't going to be like, yeah, man, you good. They won't let you sit still. They always say, oh, we need to do this. We need to do that. That's why I put the tagline on this thing about iron sharpens iron. Because the whole scripture, iron sharpens iron, as a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. It's a two-way street. It just ain't that. Look at that. Build a team. Yes, sir. Man, I'm going to tell y'all about the invisible army. Like, I'm going to make a video about the invisible army. But I believe that every person needs their own invisible army. And what that is the army that's there to protect you and work with you, but you never see them. For example, if I was out anywhere with y'all, right, and somebody came up to do something to me, I know for a fact I wouldn't have to do nothing. I can step back because my invisible army gonna be there to look out for me. Or if you're struggling with something, you got an invisible army that's there to help you up, to help push you along. So take time to cultivate your invisible army, which I'm gonna make that video sometime in the next couple of weeks, but it's coming. But look at this. Look at this. So he says, if you spend too much time with your woman, you will rub off on each other in the worst way. Look at this. Oh, if you spend too much time together, you rub off each other in the worst way. This is why I don't understand. And if you say this, it's fine. If that could be you, it ain't me. But when people say, oh, yeah, my wife is my best friend. Okay. I don't believe that, because my wife is my wife. She ain't my best friend. But listen to what he said about this thing, though. If you spend too much time together, you rub off each other in the worst way. What happens? In order to get along, she will begin to adopt your masculine patterns of speech, denying her feminine desire to flow and play in pleasure without having to make masculine style sense or fulfill a purpose. So basically, to get along with you, she turned into to get along with you, she turned into you. That's what I mean by rubbing off on each other. But then what else happens? You will begin to adopt her feminine patterns of touch and affection, denying the desire to get down to it with your mission or your woman. You won't be pursuing a mission. A man has a purpose. Like I said, everything got a purpose. You're trying to go out there and fulfill your purpose. You find it, you're doing it, but y'all spending too much time together, rubbing off each other. Now you won't do it. Now you won't do it. So y'all both turn each other into the other thing. It's like osmosis. So like I think I said this one time before. I wrote this sermon, right? And I preached it, and it was talking about there's onions by my butter. And basically what it is that if you have onion and you put it in the refrigerator next to the butter gonna taste like onions. That's what happens here. You spend too much time together like that, y'all start rubbing off on one another. Now, if you connect this with things that he talks about earlier in the book, he says that we need to devote time to be with our significant other. Don't do nothing else. Devote time to do that. And no lie, it works. It works. Like probably after this show, when my wife get home, I'm gonna stop doing everything and I'm gonna go in there where she is and I'm just gonna sit down. And she's gonna talk, and I'm gonna talk. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna have a good old time. And I'm gonna do that for a while. And then I'm gonna come on back in here and get back to work. And then she's gonna be glad I'm gone because she's gonna be tired of me talking. And people, I know y'all been married for a minute, so y'all know it's kind of like you love her, you be around her, but she be glad to see you gone the same way. Like, oh, she ain't gonna tell you that, but yeah, she want to watch what she want to watch on TV and do whatever she got to do. So now what I like about this is he talks about how to bring your woman up, how to make her feel better or rejuvenate. So he said to enliven her feminine core, your woman must spend time every day in celebration and not trying to accomplish a goal. Basically, that she got to be happy. And that's why so many of these people on these antidepressants and all this other stuff, because they're working too hard. They're taking this serious role. And that's what they're supposed to be. So look at this. He said, if your woman lacks this frequent feminine rejuvenation, she will develop symptoms of depressed feminine energy. And what is that? Disease. Oh, here we go. It's okay for her to be an extension of you, but not the masculine version. Yes. That's what I'm saying, man. That's not right. That's not right. And that's denying her who she is. Everybody be much happier when they play their role. That's what submission means. Play your role. But he said that she will get disease. And in quotation marks, he said, especially in her more feminine parts. Now, I don't know if he's talking about physically or, emotionally. I guess it's physically since it's a disease. But he said lack of life energy. So she always tired. She always tired, always trying to sleep. Because she working all the time. I mean, just tired all the time. Then it said low sexual desire and enjoyment. And a blue, downhearted, despondent disposition. If somebody is despondent, they just there. It's like a vegetable. So she need to have time where she can be happy and she can just be free and do all of that stuff. Now, I tell you, my wife, she call up her cousins and then they go out to dinner and eat crabs and go see plays and do all of this stuff. And then she come home and she feel better. Likewise with me, I get to spend time with y'all. I call some of y'all on the phone if y'all don't call me. So we always got to recharge our batteries. You got to. Now I get it. When somebody tell you something a long time ago and then all of a sudden it hit and it's like, oh, it makes sense. That's what my daddy was telling me, like when I first got married. You don't need to be around all the time. Or when I was dating, he was like, you need to let him miss you a little bit. That's what he talking about. And it took me like 30 doggone years to get there. So this next part here, This is important. So we're gonna go through this next part, and it's important. So he said, much of the modern men's movement have concentrated on men reclaiming their inner feminine energy. I can remember growing up, it was on everywhere. Men need to be softer. Men need to get in touch with their feminine side and do all this and that. And this is what he say. Now, this is what I like about this book, because he doesn't shut things down, but he give you a different way to do it. So if you want to get in touch with your feminine energy and create that balance within yourself, this is what he say to do. He said you can do pretty much the same thing as women do, right? So you can, be happy, free, dance, let stuff go. But he said you can go out into the woods and sing and dance and laugh with your friends. So when you find your feminine side, you ain't got to be around a bunch of women to do it. You still need men to do that. And you can get balance with that. Now, all right, this is how you break it down. He says, for men who have become rigidly stuck in their masculine direction without allowing the flow of joy and sharing in their lives, this is good medicine. Okay. Oh, OG say he cooked. That's about feminine as he get. You know what? I'm not even going to put that on a feminine thing. I'm not at all. Nah. But I see what you're talking about. So, but what do you say if you are way too masculine and you deep into what you're doing all the time, like all you do, you like Mr. 25/8, 25 hours, 8 days straight, just working and hitting nose to the grindstone, and that's all you do. We know dudes like that. I know plenty of them like that. And the way to get your thing back together, you go out with some other dudes and you relax. That's what he's saying to do. That is perfect for you. He said, like Kev said, don't cry in front of them. Don't vent. go and talk to the tree. He said, I'm going to tell you this yesterday. He was like, don't cry unless you broke both of your arms. Now, if you broke one arm, don't say nothing. But you got to break both of your arms. Then you can cry. And then you do it for about 3 seconds. I'm serious. But look what he say here. For men who have lost their sense of purpose, who don't know what their life is about, who have trouble aligning their life with the truth, singing and dancing don't do it. Because they singing and dancing and carefree anyway. So it don't work. The cure for a lack of purpose is to be challenged to live at your edge. So you need to challenge yourself. If you don't know what your purpose is, challenge yourself with something. So the question is, how do you do that? It's a lot of ways to do that. You can go learn something new. You can go exercise. You can go to school. You do something to find your purpose, your direction in life. Because you see how all these connect up. If you don't have that direction and your woman with you, she going to try to lead you somewhere. And that ain't going to work. All right. Let me say this. She's going to become more masculine. You're going to become more feminine. And it ain't going to be good for nobody. How about that? So going out and taking breaks, taking vacations, and doing all that stuff, if you don't know what in the world you're doing with your life, it's just reinforcing the same thing you already doing. You already don't know where in the world you're going in life. So you're just going to go out there and take a cruise trying to find yourself, and it ain't going to do it. It's not going to work. So he said there's 2 ways to bring you right to your masculine edge of power. And it's austerity and challenge. And he said, austerity means to eliminate comforts and cushions in your life that you have learned to snuggle into and lose wakefulness. Take away anything that dulls your edge. Okay. What is he saying? You need to give up some stuff for a minute. If you are stuck in that rut and you don't know where you're going to go, you got to give up some stuff. He says, no TV, no candy, no cookies, no sweets, none of that stuff. He even's talking about don't even bring your phone in the bathroom when you're on the toilet. Reduce working time to a necessary minimum. No movies, no conversation that ain't about what you're trying to do. Why are you doing that? That gets you refocused. Because remember in the beginning, we said solitude can build you. And that's what you're talking about. Sometimes you got to cut stuff out. Now, here's the funny thing. For me, I have to do all three of these, but not at the same time. So depending on where you are in your life and depending on what's happening, that what dictates you have to do, what you have to do. Because sometimes we're always in flux. We're always going back and forth. So sometimes I have to cut everything out and have to be by myself to try to find out where I'm going, what's going on, what I'm doing. Other times I'm gonna have to call up the partners, man, and hey, what y'all doing? Or talk, do all kind of stuff. That rejuvenate me too. Because you know what? If you ain't seen your homeboys in a minute and you go over there or they come to your house and y'all chill, y'all laugh, don't do nothing but just be around one another, you feel a whole lot better. That's what he's saying. Find some other dudes or be by yourself. And then other times, we gonna go and do something, just where you don't have to worry about the stress of the world. And I know that's hard to do for some of us because we always worried about everything because it's all on our shoulder. Oh, there you go, Freddie Brown. He is in. All right, man. We're talking about chapter 50 and saying that men can restore their purpose by being by themselves or being with other men. All right, now he say this. We need to boy, you say we need to get together and play basketball. Man, I ain't played basketball in probably about a decade. Now I play at school sometimes. I'm exercising these days, so I might be able to go out there and do something. I might be stiff, oversleep or something. I'm telling you. So what he's saying though is that when you cut out all that extra stuff, then you can get rid of those bad habits. Then you can find your edge because all the distractions are gone. That's what causes us to lose focus because we have so many distractions. And it's distractions that we put on ourselves. So he's saying you have to script everything all the way down to the metal. Script it all the way down to the metal, and then you can build it back up. It's like having a classic car. That's what they do. You get an old car and you script it all the way down to the bare metal so you can repaint it. And that's what you got to do. So he said, unadorned suffering is the bed mate of masculine growth. By staying intimate with your personal suffering, you can feel it through to its source. So, okay, I had messed around and highlighted this whole paragraph, but he said by putting all your attention into work, TV, sex, reading, your suffering remains unpenetrated and the source remains hidden. So basically, whatever you're going through, we tend to distract ourselves with other things and not evaluate what we actually doing, how to get ourselves back. And I'm gonna tell you, I did that in the beginning too. I read when stuff was getting tough and around here and all that. Man, I read so many books. I watched videos. I did all the stuff, but it ain't gonna do nothing if I don't do something. And that's what he's saying. Now, this connects to that next book because Atomic Habits. So we're gonna read Atomic Habits next. And I done read about 4 or 5 chapters already. And he talks about this too. He said, when you touch the surface of your suffering, perhaps in the form of boredom. So being bored, what do you do? Pick up your phone, go watch TV or doing something like that. Instead of sitting there with yourself and contemplating and meditating, you go find something to distract yourself with. Now, I'm gonna tell you, it better not near one of y'all be running around here talking about I'm bored. It's too much stuff to do to be bored. Too many things you got to take care of to be bored. So, but that's what he's saying, man. Sometimes you just got to be still. And your suffering is stuff that get to you. You can't stand being in a quiet room. Some of us can't stand being sober. We be sober and we like, oh, I got to get lit tonight. I got to drink. I got to smoke. I got to do all that stuff. But you got to sit there, man. That's how you find yourself. instead of trying to distract yourself. So, and he even said this: 2 hours of absorption in a good Super Bowl telecast may distract you temporarily, but the fact still remains. No matter what you do to distract yourself, is the problem still gonna be there regardless. That's why I tell people who drink a lot and do drugs, when they say, oh, this thing happened. So, oh, okay, perfect example. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it. Remember when that girl, um, Shakari Richardson was running and they did the stuff about the drugs and everybody said her mama died, so she was smoking. It don't do nothing. You could get high today, but the problem's still gonna be there tomorrow. If you upset because you don't have the money for rent and you gonna go and smoke, you done messed up two ways. First way, you done spent the little bit of money you had on that. And then number two, once you come down off your high, you still gonna owe the rent and you still don't know what to do. Sometimes you got to sit with that thing, man. Sit and let that thing stew so you can figure out what you got to do. So Fritz said, reinventing yourself should be a repeated thing, not just a one and done thing. Your purpose can change and then come back to a prior purpose. Yes. Yes. I definitely just now, I happened to redo my purpose. I wrote it down. And it changed from what it was a few years ago. And it was just to help people become better people. And then it changed into to help others become better stewards of life, because we got this whole life that God has given us, and too many of us wasting it, or we not taking full advantage of what we got. So we got to be better stewards of life. That's why we're doing these books, we're reading these books. So let's go on, because man, this thing still it get heavy, man. So he said another way to rediscover your masculine core is through challenge. The most superficial forms of challenge include activities like mountain climbing, courses, competitive sports, and boot camp. These forms of physical challenge instantly enliven the masculine sense of purpose and direction in men and women. Get up. Sometimes you got to get up and do something. You got to move around. You got to go out there and do something. You got to do some stuff you never did before. Go get some exercise. Go move. For me, my best, when I was at my peak of writing and doing things, I was exercising regularly. It's like I can hear God better when I'm exercising and moving. But then I put other stuff in front of it and I stop. So then instead of exercising, like, oh, I got to write this, or I got to make this or do this. But I'm starting to make a habit out of it, which that Atomic Habits book, I'm telling you, when we get to that, y'all gonna love it. So get ahead and get your copy now, because I'm gonna have to teach this. I'm gonna have to teach it for it to work. But go ahead and do it. All right. So look at this. He said deeper forms of challenge involve directly giving your gift in ways that have been blocked by fear. Oh boy. So here's the example he said. If you've been always afraid of public speaking, then you can take on the challenge of speaking in public. That's what I mean. Challenge don't always have to be physical, but it could be something you never did before. Like this, like if you want to live stream, and that's a challenge for you because you got to overcome some fear to do it. Then go live a few times. For me, I don't even care no more. I live, put out video, whatever. I don't care what people say, because I know what I'm saying is important. But also he talks about making it to where you have a consequence if you don't do it. So you got to block your exit where you have to achieve the goal. Now, he said this. I ain't doing this because I ain't got the money like that. But he said, if you always wanted to write a novel but can never finish one, which that's me. I got like 4 or 5 partial books on this computer right now. Tell your friends that you're going to complete 1 chapter a week or a month for the next year. And every time you don't complete the weekly goal, you owe your friends $100. And if you don't complete your yearly goal, you owe them $10,000. Now I don't know who he writing this thing to. Now, as for me, in my house, we will keep our $100. I'm telling you, I can't do that. But we can challenge one another. We can try to check in with one another. As a matter of fact, on the show last Saturday, again, talking to Kevin Franklin, powerful brother, he talked about how to put the king first. And part of that is um holding yourself accountable and celebrating the wins. So what we were supposed to do this week, and I think I'm gonna do it tomorrow, and y'all do it too. Any wins that you have, anything positive that you did, no matter how small, I want y'all to post it in the group, whatever it is. For me, so far, I've exercised every day this week. And for me, that's big because I usually find other stuff to do. So I'm gonna start that thread. I'm gonna put it up tomorrow at the end of the work week. And we're gonna see where this goes. We're gonna start celebrating our positive things. So he said this. Now, the point is there must be a consequence for freezing in the face of fear. And that you must instill consequences throughout the rest of your life unless you want to cling to the safety net of superficial pleasure. So you got to put something in it for yourself to motivate you to do things. That's what he's saying. Now, further down, because we almost done with this chapter, we're gonna be done with this whole book in probably about 10 minutes. About 10 minutes, we're gonna be done with the whole thing. So he talks about, well, let me go back up here. Challenge your attention with some practice, like chanting or ritual movement, so your attention doesn't drift. So do something you got to build your attention, build your attention span. Because some of us, we don't have it. These kids don't have it. And I'm telling you what, today I had to give a test and there was a lot of reading on it. And them jokers fell asleep after 15 minutes. Can't read, can't read a simple passage for more than 10 minutes. No stamina. So that's what he's saying here. We have to challenge ourselves and build that stamina up. Now, for me, I done that because for all the degrees I got and all that stuff, I never like to read books. I always listen to them. I never like to read them, but I wanted to try, so I had to do it for this. Now I start reading books all the time. So you got to challenge yourself. But he said, don't cover your suffering and don't quit. Don't quit before the fear hit. That's how you find your purpose. Because I told y'all that story about me and swimming, how I quit when the fear hit and I nearly drowned. So you got to keep moving. Now, right here, let's talk about being by yourself sometimes. And this is the best way to solidify your masculine vision, is to be by yourself. So if you're dull, if you don't know what you're doing, take a break and be by yourself. He says, spend time every day in solitude with no distraction. Just sit still. He says, sit for 10 minutes. No fidgeting, no channel surfing, no magazine thumping, or being on your phone. Just sit there. And I'm telling you, if you do that, it'll start coming to you. Hey, God will start talking to you if you be still long enough. I'm telling you, that's how you get it. For the nerd people out there, Naruto had to do that to go into sage mode. He had to stay still to gather all his energy. So you got to do that. Now, he said also, just as your woman must regularly spend time with other women, you must regularly spend time with other men. You got to do it. And that's why we doing this, even though we're not all together in person. But look, we talking through these comments. If somebody want to come up and say something, hey, y'all let me know. I'll drop the link in there. You can do that. But this is us spending time together talking, getting stuff off our chest. That's the thing that brought me out of what I was going through, being able to call one of my brothers and say, hey, man, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm doing. And they help bring me back. You need that. And then you got to have criticism from those friends. So you just can't be one of those friends who don't ever say nothing. and you know your friend could be doing better. Iron sharpens iron as the man sharpens the countenance of his friend. I was talking with one of my best friends yesterday about different moves he can make, different things he can do. And he do the same thing for me all the time, about every other day. So he said, this is how you do it. If you feel your friend is wasting his life, tell him because you love him. Tell him because you love him. Now, he said also to suggest challenges for each other to take on in order to bring each other through the fears which limit your surrender and gifting. So we have to challenge one another to do certain things because some of us won't challenge ourselves or it won't be enough. I know my friends can see all my weak points and they'll say, yeah, you need to do this or do that. Matter of fact, I know some months ago, Damien said, yeah, you need to get on some other Manosphere podcasts and do this and that. And I sat on that thing for a few weeks. He kept saying it. He kept saying it. And one Sunday, the dude threw the thing, and I got on there. You know, podcast with the millions of subscribers, but I was on there. We did it. I was scared too. I didn't know why. Well, yeah, did it last week. Went on another podcast, did the same thing. So basically, he's also saying this, and um, I think my friend Damien is real good at this. He said, make sure that you arrange for your woman's rejuvenation time and your own. I know he would talk about going to get massages and sending his wife off to do this and that. Um, and that's for her good. So we talked about the direction, pointing or leading in a direction and also facilitating that. And that's what this is. All right. We're gonna hit this last one, chapter 51. And no lie, this chapter is literally 5 or 6 sentences. And this is all it says. Fear is your final excuse. Don't fight it, but love through it. Don't let fear keep you from being the type of man you need to be. Don't let fear keep you from talking out your problems, or don't let fear keep you from trying something new or saying what need to be said. Don't don't do that. You got to keep moving. That was it. That is done. Now, the last thing before I go on home is we're going to get ready for this next book, and I'm going to show y'all the book. And I went to the wrong link. Hold on. We got books. And where's my library? It's good. Like if you use Google Play or something like that, it's real good because you could read the book on your phone or whatever, and then you could highlight it. So that's like the best thing. All right. Oh, hold on. Let me share that screen right there. All right. So I didn't just finish that book. All right, that's it. Atomic Habits. That's what it looked like. Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results by James Clear. This book is the truth. I started reading this week, and man, I want to call somebody. I'm telling you, when you get to the point you want to call somebody and tell them about it, yeah, that's good. But this right here, Atomic Habits, the reason why he called it that is because the atom is the smallest part of everything. Just like the small habits you do build up to the biggest thing. So that's what he's talking about. And I mean, you can see I already highlighted a lot of the book. You know, how to build, look at that, how to build better habits in 4 simple steps. He talks about behavioral changes, and the stuff in blue is the stuff I got to teach when we come back. I mean, it's a lot. This book is it. So I'm gonna go back to the beginner so y'all can see it. Go there. Atomic Habits by James Clear. You can buy it. Google Play. You can get on your phone. You spend like $4 or something like that, and you got your book. Just read it on your phone. Or you can go buy the book. It's up to you. But this is the one. So y'all go ahead and get this and be ready, because the way this book written is that we can't do it like this book. We're gonna have to teach it and talk about it and discuss it in order to get to the bottom of this. And I want all y'all to get this book, to read it, and create those habits that's going to change your life. That's why I keep saying it. Then after this, we'll get back to Jordan Peterson. And yeah, we do some Jordan Peterson. I want to look at David Goggins too. If you don't know who he is, look him up. His book was pretty good. So, man, that's all I got. And we're gonna go ahead and take it to the house. If my son is done with his schoolwork tomorrow, we'll have a nerd show. But if he's not, we're not gonna do it, because the schoolwork got to come first. And I'm trying to keep him on that high honor roll and get him into college like now. Saturday, I'll be here. Like I said, we're gonna talk about some Jay Morant. We're gonna talk about Chris Rock and Will Smith, all of that. So y'all come and be a part of that. And be on the lookout from the show from last week. We had our special guest, Kevin Franklin. I'm going to try to chop it up, put some pieces out there so y'all can get something out of it too. So, oh, yeah. Yep, that's it. You Can't Hurt Me is good. Yes, sir. I have that on audiobook. That David Goggins that dude is a monster, boy. Whew. Keep up with him. But yeah, we want to go through that. All right, Fritz, man, you be easy, brother. Man, we love it. So anyway, that's all I got, man. I'll holler at y'all.